Prepare yourself for a journey of self-discovery and inner strength. Welcome to my channel, where we delve into the rich legacy of Stoicism. Today, we will explore a crucial theme: 7 types of people you always need to say no to, the Stoic Legacy. It's an empowering journey, where we will learn to identify and resist toxic influences that can undermine our inner peace and personal growth. Every detail of this video is essential, as understanding these types of people will empower us to build more authentic and meaningful relationships. So, don't forget to leave your like and follow every moment of this transformative journey. Let's go. Narcissists. On the vast stage of life, we are all protagonists of our own stories. But sometimes, we encounter people who seem to think they are the only stars of the show, leaving others as mere extras in their personal narratives. These are the people who exhibit traits of narcissism, a characteristic that Stoicism teaches us to recognize and face with wisdom. Narcissists are like mirrors that only reflect the image of themselves, unable to see beyond their own needs and desires. They place their self-esteem at the top of the pyramid, often ignoring or belittling the needs and feelings of those around them. But Stoicism reminds us that each of us is responsible for cultivating virtue within ourselves, and this includes the ability to put ourselves in others' shoes and practice empathy. When dealing with narcissists, it's crucial to maintain inner calm and not allow their egocentrism to disturb your peace of mind. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent to their behaviors, but rather cultivating a serenity that allows us to deal with them constructively and assertively. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own reactions and choices. And in the face of a narcissist, we can choose not to feed their inflated ego with our attention or engage in power games. One of the most striking characteristics of narcissists is their tendency to shift blame for their mistakes onto others. They rarely take responsibility for their actions, preferring to find scapegoats to justify their failures. But Stoicism reminds us that we are responsible not only for our actions, but also for our reactions to life's circumstances. Instead of being manipulated or unfairly accused by a narcissist, we can choose to respond with integrity and dignity, staying true to our principles. It's important to recognize that dealing with a narcissist can be challenging and sometimes exhausting, but Stoicism offers us a valuable perspective: to see these challenges as opportunities to strengthen our resilience and enhance our wisdom. Each encounter with a narcissist offers us the chance to practice patience, compassion, and self-discipline, essential virtues for cultivating meaningful and rewarding relationships. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us to look beyond the superficial behavior of a narcissist and recognize the humanity that exists behind the mask of ego. We are all flawed and imperfect, but we are also capable of growth and transformation. When faced with the challenge of dealing with a narcissist, we can choose to see each interaction as an opportunity to practice compassion and empathy, not only towards others but also towards ourselves. On this vast stage of life, we are all protagonists of our own stories. And as we face the challenges and adversities that we encounter along the way, may we remember the words of the Stoics: to cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and pursue virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even in the face of the most challenging personalities that cross our path. Gossips. In the vast tapestry of human interactions, we encounter people who seem to delight in weaving threads of gossip and spreading confidential information as if they were branches of a fruitful tree. These are the gossipers, individuals who often unwittingly undermine trust and integrity in relationships by spreading rumors about others. However, Stoicism offers us a valuable perspective on how to deal with these challenging situations and maintain our moral integrity. Gossipers are like unwanted messengers, carrying with them distorted stories and half-truths that can cause irreparable damage to personal and professional relationships. They often hide behind the guise of innocent curiosity, but their words can be like poisoned arrows, injuring those who are the target of their rumors. However, Stoicism teaches us to stand firm in the face of these trials, remaining true to our principles and virtues. When faced with a gossiper, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can succumb to drama and gossip, or we can choose to respond with calm and discernment. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our own reactions and choices. Instead of engaging in fruitless arguments or feeding the cycle of gossip, we can choose to step away from these toxic interactions and focus on our own values and goals. One of the most valued virtues by the Stoics is prudence, or the ability to judge wisely in all situations. When we encounter a gossiper, it's essential to exercise this virtue, carefully choosing our words and actions. Instead of impulsively reacting to gossip or fueling the rumor mill, we can choose to respond with composure and dignity, refusing to participate in harmful or defamatory conversations. It's important to remember that, although gossipers may evoke feelings of anger, frustration, and resentment, we can choose how these emotions affect us. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner equanimity, remaining serene and centered even in the storms of life. By practicing self-discipline and self-control, we can become masters of our own emotions, refusing to allow gossipers to shake us or divert us from our path. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us to look beyond gossip and superficial appearances, and to recognize the humanity that exists in each individual, even in those who choose to engage in harmful behaviors. We are all flawed and imperfect, but we are also capable of growth and transformation. As we face the challenges presented by gossipers in our lives, we can choose to respond with compassion and empathy, not only towards others but also towards ourselves. In the vast tapestry of human interactions, we are all weavers of our own stories. And as we face the challenges presented by gossipers and the rumors they spread, may we remember the words of the Stoics: to cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and pursue virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even in the most turbulent storms that life reserves for us. Manipulators. Amidst the complexities of life, we encounter individuals who possess the gift of manipulating and influencing others to achieve their own objectives, often at the expense of others' well-being. These are the manipulators, individuals who may seem charming at first glance, but hide a selfish agenda behind their words and actions. However, Stoicism offers us a moral compass to navigate these turbulent waters and maintain our integrity in the face of manipulation's cunning. Manipulators are like artists of persuasion, skilled in weaving webs of lies and half-truths to achieve their own ends. They often disguise themselves under a mask of kindness and generosity, but in reality, their intentions are driven by a desire for power and control over others. However, Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in moral integrity and authenticity, not in manipulation and deceit. When encountering a manipulator, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can succumb to their schemes and allow them to puppeteer us, or we can choose to maintain our autonomy and dignity, refusing to be manipulated by their insidious tactics. Stoicism teaches us to recognize that we cannot control others' actions, but we can control our own reactions and choices. Instead of being swayed by emotional manipulation or the empty promises of a manipulator, we can choose to follow the path of virtue and authenticity, even if it means facing resistance and opposition. One of the virtues most valued by Stoics is courage, or the ability to act with moral integrity even in the face of fear and uncertainty. When faced with a manipulator, it is essential to exercise this virtue, standing firm in our principles and values even when pressured to compromise them. Instead of yielding to the manipulative demands of a selfish individual, we can choose to uphold what is right and just, remaining true to our own conscience. It's important to remember that while manipulators may evoke feelings of anger, frustration, and powerlessness, we can choose how these emotions affect us. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner equanimity, remaining serene and centered even amidst the storms of manipulation. By practicing self-discipline and self-control, we can become masters of our own emotions, refusing to allow manipulators to sway or shake us. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us to look beyond the manipulator's schemes and recognize the humanity that exists in each individual, even in those who choose to engage in harmful behaviors. We are all fallible and imperfect, but we are also capable of growth and transformation. In facing the challenges presented by manipulators in our lives, we can choose to respond with compassion and empathy, not only towards others but also towards ourselves. Amidst the complexities of life, we are all navigators in search of our own truth and authenticity. And as we confront the challenges presented by manipulators and their schemes, may we remember the words of the Stoics: cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and seek virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even amidst the most turbulent tides that life presents us. Undecided. In the journey of life, we encounter individuals who seem to be trapped in an endless cycle of indecision and uncertainty, unable to take firm steps towards their goals. These are the undecided, individuals who struggle to make decisions and assume responsibilities, often leaving a trail of doubt and insecurity in their wake. However, Stoicism offers us a beacon of wisdom to guide us through the mists of indecision and help us find clarity and determination in our choices. The undecided are like sailors lost in a sea of possibilities, unable to choose a definite course for their lives. They often find themselves paralyzed by fear of the unknown, fearing to make the wrong decision and face the consequences of their choices. However, Stoicism teaches us that true courage lies in taking responsibility for our decisions and acting with determination, even in the face of uncertainty. When faced with an undecided individual, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can allow their indecision to drag us into the abyss of uncertainty, or we can offer our guidance and support to help them find the right path. Stoicism reminds us that each of us is responsible for cultivating virtue within ourselves, and this includes the ability to be compassionate and supportive to those who struggle to make decisions. One of the virtues most valued by Stoics is prudence, or the ability to judge wisely in all situations. When faced with an undecided person, it is essential to exercise this virtue, offering thoughtful advice and compassionate guidance to help them find clarity in their choices. Instead of judging them for their indecision, we can choose to cultivate empathy and understanding, recognizing that we all face moments of uncertainty in our lives. It is important to remember that, although the undecided may seem lost and confused, they also possess untapped potential waiting to be discovered. Stoicism invites us to look beyond the surface and recognize the humanity that exists in each individual, even in those who struggle to find their way. By offering our support and guidance, we can help them cultivate the courage and determination needed to overcome their indecision and move towards their goals. Ultimately, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness and fulfillment are not found in the absence of challenges, but rather in the ability to face them with courage and determination. In the journey of life, we are all navigators in search of our own truth and authenticity. And as we confront the challenges presented by the undecided in our lives, may we remember the words of the Stoics: cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and seek virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find clarity, determination, and purpose in our choices, even amidst the most turbulent storms that life throws our way. Chronic critics. In the tapestry of life, we encounter people who always seem ready to point fingers and criticize others, as if they were relentless judges in a court of public opinion. These are the chronic critics, individuals who take pleasure in tarnishing others' reputations, often resorting to gossip and rumors to fuel their habit of judgment. However, Stoicism offers us a compassionate, virtue-centered approach to dealing with these challenging situations and cultivating a mindset of resilience and authenticity. Chronic critics are like avid spectators in a game of blame and shame, always quick to point out flaws and faults in others while ignoring their own imperfections. They often hide behind a facade of superiority and arrogance, but in reality, their need to criticize others reflects their own insecurities and inadequacies. However, Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in humility and compassion, not in arrogance and cruelty. When faced with a chronic critic, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can allow their words to strike us and shake us, or we can choose to respond with calmness and compassion, recognizing that their criticism says more about themselves than about us. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control others' opinions, but we can control our own reactions and choices. Instead of defending ourselves or retaliating against critics, we can choose to remain true to our own values and principles, standing firm in our authenticity and integrity. One of the virtues most valued by Stoics is courage, or the ability to act with moral integrity even in the face of adversity and criticism. When faced with a chronic critic, it's essential to exercise this virtue, choosing to respond with dignity and composure rather than being driven by anger or resentment. Instead of stooping to the level of critics, we can choose to rise above their derogatory words, staying focused on our own growth and personal development. It's important to remember that while chronic critics may evoke feelings of pain and inadequacy, we can choose how these emotions affect us. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner equanimity, remaining serene and centered even in the storms of criticism and disapproval. By practicing self-discipline and self-control, we can become masters of our own emotions, refusing to let critics shake us or veer us off course. Ultimately, Stoicism invites us to look beyond others' criticisms and recognize the humanity that exists in each individual, even in those who choose to engage in harmful behaviors. We are all flawed and imperfect, but we are also capable of growth and transformation. When facing the challenges presented by chronic critics in our lives, may we remember the words of the Stoics: cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and seek virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even in the most turbulent storms that life throws our way. Victim mentality. In the journey of life, we encounter people who seem perpetually entangled in the web of victimhood, always ready to point fingers and blame others or fate for their difficulties. These are the victim mentality individuals who see themselves as victims of circumstances, avoiding taking responsibility for their own actions and choices. However, Stoicism offers us a transformative perspective, inviting us to take control of our lives and cultivate a mindset of responsibility and empowerment. Victim mentality individuals are like sailors lost in a sea of self-pity, always seeking external excuses for their own failures and shortcomings. They often see themselves as pawns of fate, unable to change their circumstances or shape their own destiny. However, Stoicism reminds us that we are the architects of our own lives, responsible for our choices and actions, regardless of the adversities we face. When faced with a victim mentality individual, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can allow their victim mindset to drag us down, or we can choose to inspire them to take control of their lives and seek constructive solutions to their problems. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in the ability to face challenges with courage and determination, rather than succumbing to despair and self-pity. One of the virtues most valued by Stoics is courage, or the ability to act with moral integrity even in the face of adversity and uncertainty. When faced with a victim mentality individual, it's essential to exercise this virtue, offering them support and guidance to help them find their way out of the cycle of victimization. Instead of fueling their victim mentality with excessive compassion, we can encourage them to take responsibility for their own lives and seek proactive solutions to their challenges. It's important to remember that while victim mentality individuals may be trapped in a pattern of negative thinking, they also possess the power to change their lives for the better. Stoicism invites us to look beyond self-imposed limitations and recognize the unlimited potential that exists within each of us. By offering our support and encouragement to victim mentality individuals, we can help them find strength and resilience within themselves, empowering them to overcome their adversities and create a life of purpose and meaning. Ultimately, Stoicism reminds us that we are the masters of our own destiny, capable of transforming even the most difficult experiences into opportunities for growth and learning. In the journey of life, we are all sailors in search of our own truth and authenticity. And as we face the challenges presented by victim mentality individuals in our lives, may we remember the words of the Stoics: cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and seek virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even in the most turbulent storms that life throws our way. False or disinterested. In the journey of life, we encounter people who may seem physically present, but their true presence is merely a facade. These are the false or disinterested individuals, people who feign interest in you or your ideas, but are not genuinely engaged in the conversation or the relationship. However, Stoicism offers us a guide of wisdom to navigate through these superficial interactions and cultivate genuine relationships based on authenticity and honesty. The false or disinterested are like talented actors on the stage of life, capable of playing the role of a friend or attentive listener while their minds are elsewhere. They often use fake smiles and empty words to mask their true lack of interest, leaving us feeling uncomfortable and undervalued in their presence. However, Stoicism teaches us that true human connection is built on the foundation of sincerity and empathy, not falsehood and disinterest. When faced with a false or disinterested person, we are confronted with the choice of how to react. We can allow their lack of authenticity to discourage us and push us away from others, or we can choose to practice compassion and understanding, recognizing that we all face internal struggles and challenges in our lives. Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in the ability to maintain our moral and emotional integrity, even in the face of disappointments and betrayals from others. One of the most valued virtues by Stoics is courage, or the ability to act with moral integrity even in the face of adversity and disillusionment. When faced with a false or disinterested individual, it is essential to exercise this virtue by choosing to respond with dignity and compassion instead of succumbing to anger or bitterness. Instead of shutting ourselves off from the world in response to others' falsehoods, we can choose to remain open and receptive, staying true to our own values and principles. It is important to remember that while false or disinterested individuals may leave us discouraged and disillusioned, we can choose how these interactions affect us. Stoicism invites us to look beyond the masks that others wear and recognize the humanity that exists in each individual, even in those who choose to engage in harmful behaviors. By practicing self-discipline and self-control, we can become masters of our own emotions, refusing to allow others to shake us or lead us astray from our path. Ultimately, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness and fulfillment are not found in the approval of others, but rather in our own integrity and authenticity. In the journey of life, we are all navigators in search of genuine and meaningful relationships based on sincerity and empathy. And as we face the challenges presented by false or disinterested individuals in our lives, may we remember the words of the Stoics: cultivate inner peace, exercise self-control, and pursue virtue in all our actions. For it is through these principles that we will find true happiness and fulfillment, even in the midst of the most turbulent storms that life throws our way.